What is Rome? Rome is the capital city of Italy, which is a country in Europe. This aerial scene shows what you might see if you visited Rome today. It is a beautiful, vibrant city full of fascinating things to see and do. Here is something that thousands of people travel to Rome to see every year. Does anyone know what this is? It's called the Colosseum. When you look at this picture, you might ask yourself another question. What was the city of Rome like a long time ago? After all, this building does not appear to be new or in very good condition. That is because it is almost 2,000 years old. This fabulous building is just one of the countless remains from the ancient Roman city. The Colosseum was basically a big sports stadium for Romans. However, instead of watching football or baseball, the ancient Roman sports fans came to the Colosseum to watch combat sports, often involving people fighting each other or animals, sometimes to their death. The fact that their sports were so bloody and deadly might lead you to think that the Romans were violent people. And they were in many ways. The Romans had some of the most powerful armies in history. As you can see from the beauty of Roman architecture in this photograph, the ancient Romans were also incredibly creative people. The Romans were the first to widely use arches in many of their buildings and bridges. The arch, first used by Egyptians and Mesopotamians and improved upon by the Romans, allowing an opening of a structure, such as a window or a doorway, to be much wider because the curved wedges of stone offer more support than a flat piece of stone would. You will learn more about this and other contributions of the ancient Romans as you hear about their history, government, art, religion, and more. Beginning with the city of Rome, the Romans built a civilization that controlled most of present-day Western Europe, as well as large parts of present-day Asia and Africa. In yellow, this map shows the large area the Romans controlled at the height of their empire. See the boot-shaped country near the middle? That is the country we now call Italy. Italy is called a peninsula because it's surrounded on three sides by water. This is where the ancient Roman civilization began, and from there it spread to the north, to the south, to the east, and to the west. It took many years to build this vast empire. That was why the saying Rome wasn't built in a day has come to refer to the creating of something that is large or complicated, and that takes so much time and dedication. As their empire spread, the Romans also spread their culture or way of life, including their laws, art, architectural influences, language, and knowledge. Although most ancient Roman buildings are now ruins or are completely gone, Roman culture changed the world in ways we continue to experience today. Before we go any further into ancient Rome's history, let's travel outside of the city of Rome into the surrounding countryside. Italy is surrounded on nearly all sides by the famous sparkling blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea. The city of Rome is situated near the Mediterranean coast. Far outside the city limits of Rome and away from the coast, the lush Italian countryside is home to rolling wheat fields, groves of olive trees, and vineyards where grapes are grown and made into vinegar and wine. Like many lands close to the Mediterranean, the climate in Rome is fairly warm and sunny most of the year. Add it all up together, the blue waters, the beautiful city, the fertile countryside, and you can see that Italy is really a pretty nice place to call home. The Romans were not the first people to think that the area known as present-day Italy was a good place to live. In fact, the ancient Greeks had settled in parts of southern Italy. Starting around 700 BC, a civilization called the Etruscans moved to central Italy. Nobody is sure where the Etruscans came from exactly, but we know that they started building towns a couple hundred years before the city of Rome existed. This picture shows the ruins of the walled Etruscan city. Why do you think they built this city in this particular spot? It looks like it would be hard to get there, doesn't it? That was the point. Despite the beauty and all that the land nearby and sea had to offer, Italy and basically everywhere else in the Mediterranean region at that time could be a dangerous place. The Etruscans weren't the only people living in this region. There was always a chance that another group of people would come along and decide that they wanted to call the area of present-day Italy their home, or steal all the resources they could from the people who already lived there. In those times, it was smart to build a city on a steep hill surrounded by high walls for protection from invaders. The Etruscans and Greeks were only two of several groups to settle on the peninsula of Italy. Many of these cultures would essentially be mixed together to create Roman culture. Like other people during that time period, the Etruscans were fond of stone sculptures. In some areas, the hills and mountains have large sections of hard white stone called marble. Ancient Etruscans carved gorgeous sculptures from this marble more than 200 years ago. Etruscan art and architecture, such as paintings, sculpture, and building designs, help shape Roman art and architecture. These items in a museum today, like countless other Roman artifacts in museum collections all over the world. An artifact is an object that was created by a person who lived a long, long time ago. An artifact is like a door to the past. Tools, weapons, jewelry, artwork, pottery, and household items such as dishes or pots are all examples of artifacts that provide clues about people and allow us to see into the past. Artifacts, along with ruins like the Colosseum, roads, and bridges, teach us the way ancient Romans lived, worked, played, and fought. Some of these remains are easy to see, like the ruins that dot the Italian landscape. Others have been buried for many years and continue to be discovered during archaeological digs. Archaeologists are puzzle solvers. They find little clues hidden in the ground, broken shards of pottery, an arrowhead, a few beads, and bit by bit they piece together a story about the people who created these things. This photograph provides an example of one of those puzzle pieces, an early Roman mosaic. A mosaic is a piece of art made of hundreds and sometimes thousands of colorful little stones, carefully arranged to create a design. Sometimes a mosaic also includes small glass or baked clay pieces called ceramics. Wealthy Romans could afford to have mosaics in their homes to decorate their walls and floors. Artifacts such as mosaics teach us many things about ancient people. Looking at this mosaic, you can see that ancient Romans were very artistic and creative. You can also see what the Romans from that time actually looked like. The amazing thing about the artifacts of the Roman Empire is that a lot of them have not actually been discovered in the city of Rome. In fact, many artifacts have not been discovered in present-day Italy at all. This mosaic was created by Romans, but it was found in present-day nation of Turkey, which straddles Europe and Asia. It was found hundreds of miles from Rome, but it was still a Roman mosaic. How is this possible? Well, as you have heard, the city of Rome is the current capital of Italy, but during the height of the Roman Empire, about 2,000 years ago, it was the capital of a very large portion of the world. The Romans had powerful armies, and over the course of hundreds of years, they set out to conquer and rule every bit of land they could find. The Roman Empire extended from present-day Italy in every direction, north through present-day France, all the way to Britain, south to North Africa, west to Spain, and east across Asia through present-day country called Turkey, all the way to the Middle East. One thing that allowed Rome to spread so far and wide was its system of roads. In many conquered areas, the Romans built paved roads for their armies and to make traveling and trading easier. These roads were able to last many years because they were made with concrete, a hard, strong material made by mixing water with cement, sand, and pebbles and allowing the mixture to harden. The Romans were the first to invent this particular concrete mixture that is still used in modern times. Rome became known for its many well-built roads, which created a network along which some of Europe's finest cities and richest lands developed. Some of these concrete roads still exist today. Does the saying born of this time, or as does the saying born of this time, all roads lead to Rome. Romans were also known for the frescoes they created, colorful pictures made by painting wet plaster on a wall or ceiling. This faded fresco was uncovered in the city of Pompeii in Italy many years after the city had been destroyed. In AD 79, Mount Vesuvius suddenly erupted, spewing forth fire, poisonous gases, and giant clouds of ash that fell on the nearby city of Pompeii, burying everything in the volcano's wake. For more than 1,500 years, the town remained hidden until in the late 1500s, some men found a few ruins of marble frescoes like this one while digging a canal. As more and more ruins have been unearthed, archaeologists have been able to piece together the story of this lost town and its people. Archaeologists suspect there are still many ruins and artifacts awaiting to be discovered in Pompeii and across all of the surrounding areas where the Romans once ruled and lived. You will continue to learn about ancient Romans and how their culture, inventions, and many contributions are still a part of our lives today.